United States, particularly across Texas, the silent crisis has been growing year after year. Feral wild boars, aggressive, intelligent, and unstoppable, have multiplied beyond control. Their numbers now exceed 3 million, and with every passing season, the damage worsens. Entire fields are torn apart overnight. Fences are smashed. Ecosystems are pushed to the edge. And in some cases, human lives are placed directly in danger. This is not a story about sport. This is a response to a real threat. As losses cross billions of dollars annually, states were forced to act. Strictly regulated control programs were expanded, allowing trained teams to intervene under U.S. wildlife management laws. Every operation is monitored, every decision calculated. The objective is not eradication. It is balance. At first light, a heavy mist settled over the forest. Visibility was low, but preparation was absolute. Positions had been selected long. Before sunrise, gear was checked in silence. Radios muted. In terrain like this, even a misplaced footstep can turn a calm sounder into a charging force. From elevated ambush points, the herd slowly emerged below. Massive shapes moved through the brush one by one. With archery equipment, patience is everything. Rushing even a single moment can trigger chaos, sending animals toward nearby farms and homes. The goal was control, not panic. As a few boars drifted toward the wrong corridor, a calm alert moved across the radio. The team adjusted instantly. Pressure was applied gently, steering the sounder away from danger zones and toward a pre-planned containment route. No shouting, no sudden movement, only disciplined coordination. Non-lethal deterrents were used strategically, guiding the herd's movement without triggering a stampede. Stress had to be minimized. A panic boar is unpredictable, and unpredictability here can cost lives. One experienced hunter remained locked in position as a smaller group attempted to break away. His response was immediate and precise. Without firing, without escalating, he forced a directional shift that redirected the entire herd back into control. Calm under pressure, the most valuable skill in this environment. When a lead boar finally stepped into the safe engagement zone, the distance was measured, 22 yards. No closer, no further. The moment arrived, controlled, deliberate, humane. The action was clean. The threat neutralized without endangering the team or the nearby community. Behind the tree line, hundreds of homes and acres of farmland remained untouched. But this operation was far from over. As the sun climbed higher, fresh tracks in drying mud told a new story. The herd was changing direction, moving south toward crops. And that meant the most dangerous phase was about to begin. As daylight strengthened, the true complexity of the operation began to reveal itself. Wild boars do not move randomly. Every step they take follows patterns shaped by hunger, fear, and memory. The drying mud told us everything. Deep, forward-angled hoof prints confirmed what we feared most. The sounder was drifting toward active farmland. This was the most dangerous moment. Fields act like magnets for feral boars. Crops provide food, cover, and false security. Once a sounder reaches cultivated land, control becomes exponentially harder. Panic spreads faster. Escape routes multiply. And the risk to farmers' homes and roads increases with every second. The team adjusted immediately. Rather than pushing forward aggressively, Positions were rotated. Escape corridors were closed silently, one by one. No sudden pressure. No rushed movements. The goal was to slow the herd naturally, allowing instinct to work against them. Boars are powerful, but they are also creatures of habit. When their pace slows, mistakes follow. Near feeding zones, the threat escalates further. Large groups often gather here, and a single startled animal can ignite a chain reaction. For this reason, every step was timed. The team leader reinforced spacing, ensuring no one stood in a direct line of retreat. Safety came before numbers. Always, as we moved deeper, signs of walling appeared. Churned soil, pooled water, thick mud streaks along tree trunks. This behavior worked in our favor. Wallowing slows movement and limits visibility for the animals. The team used this window to preemptively block routes leading toward the crops. Then the tension spiked. Shadows shifted ahead. A subgroup began drifting east, dangerously close to the field boundary. Radios buzzed softly. Commands were short, clear, final. The perimeter closed. A lead boar stepped forward, heavy, alert, testing the air. In moments like these, hesitation is fatal, not just for the hunter, but for everyone involved. The shot, when taken, must end the problem instantly. One precise action stopped the leader cleanly. The response was immediate. The sounder fractured, but exactly as predicted. Instead of charging blindly, the remaining boars scattered along controlled routes, away from farms, away from homes, and into zones already secured by the team. Minutes stretched like hours. Dust settled. Breathing slowed. The crisis had passed, but only for now. As the operation continued, attention shifted to secondary zones. Tracks indicated smaller groups attempting to regroup farther north. These stragglers are often the most dangerous, disoriented, aggressive, more likely to charge when cornered. The team reformed. Silent flanks were established. Each member moved with deliberate precision, eyes scanning constantly. Every fallen branch, every rustle, every shift in wind mattered. In terrain like this, overconfidence kills faster than fear. Suddenly, movement. A large boar broke from cover, testing the line. It hesitated for a fraction of a second, long enough. Another clean engagement. No wasted motion. No unnecessary follow-up. The remaining animals vanished into thick brush, but the damage had been prevented. The fields were secure. The sounder was broken, and the immediate threat to the community was neutralized. Still, the mission was not finished. Control operations are never judged by how many animals fall, but by what remains protected when the dust clears. Crops intact, homes untouched, no injuries, no escalation. As the sun reached its peak, the forest grew quiet again, but everyone knew the truth. Wild boars learn fast, and somewhere beyond the tree line, survivors were already adapting. Late afternoon, the forest had changed its mood. The earlier chaos had faded, but silence does not mean safety. In Boar country, silence often signals regrouping. The remaining animals were no longer acting as a sounder. They had split into smaller, unpredictable units. The most dangerous phase of any control operation. Experienced teams fear this stage more than the initial encounter. Scattered boars move with desperation. Without the structure of the herd, They rely on instinct alone. They double back. They hide. They charge without warning. And unlike earlier, there would be no clear direction to guide them away from danger. Tracks confirmed it. Fresh prints crossed older ones, circling toward the forest edge. The animals were testing boundaries, probing for weaknesses in the perimeter. If even one broke through, it could mean destroyed fields by nightfall, or worse, a sudden encounter with locals returning home. The team moved fast, but never rushed. Positions were reassigned. Visual contact was replaced with sound discipline. Every step was measured, boots placed on exposed soil rather than leaves. Radio stayed silent, unless absolutely necessary. In moments like these, communication must be invisible. Then it happened. A low grunt echoed from dense brush. Close. Too close. A massive boar exploded from cover, charging downhill with terrifying speed. There was no warning, no second chance. At this distance, panic would be fatal. Training took over. One controlled movement. One precise action. The charge ended just meters away. Heavier breathing followed. Not fear, focus. That encounter confirmed what everyone already knew. Survivors were no longer fleeing. They were fighting back. As dusk approached, visibility dropped rapidly. Long shadows stretched between trees, turning familiar ground into unknown territory. This was the most dangerous window of the day. Boars thrive in low light. Humans do not. The team made the call to push once more before nightfall. Fresh signs appeared near a narrow corridor leading toward farmland. The animals were attempting one final escape. The last gap in the perimeter had to be closed immediately. Working in perfect coordination, the hunters formed a controlled advance. No shouting, no chasing. Pressure applied only where necessary. Every movement forced the Boars to choose the same path, the one already sealed. One by one, the threats were neutralized. No chaos, no panic, just discipline. When darkness finally settled, the forest fell quiet again. Not the uneasy silence of earlier, but the stillness that follows resolution. The kind that tells you the balance has been restored, at least for now. Behind the tree line, farms stood untouched, fences intact, crops safe, families unaware of how close destruction had come. That is a reality of feral boar control. It is not about numbers. It is not about trophies. And it is never about sport. It is about responsibility. Wild boars will return. They always do. Adaptive, intelligent, relentless. But so are those who stand between them and the communities at risk. As the team packed up under the fading light, no one celebrated. There was no victory cheer, only quiet understanding. Tomorrow, somewhere else, the forest will test another boundary. And when it does, the line will be held again.